It is better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, respect is not a luxury. It is the first wall of your fortress. The moment it cracks, the enemy enters. Think of a meeting where your voice is ignored, your idea dismissed, or your presence overlooked. That is not a minor slight. That is the first arrow lost at your throne. Disrespect does not come as a grand siege. It arrives in small, invisible executions. Every time you allow it, another stone falls from your castle wall. Tolerate enough, and one day you will look up to find the fortress gone, your sovereignty already stolen. The invisible execution is the danger you face daily. A colleague interrupts you mid-sentence, a friend cancels on you without apology, or someone speaks over your silence as if you don't exist. Each of these is a probe. In the wild, predators nudge to test the herd. They are not always looking for a fight. They are measuring who is prey. The same happens here. People push boundaries, and your reaction writes your rank on the chessboard. If you flinch, stall, or accept, the predator marks your throne is cut, not by swords, but by small tolerated wounds. History echoes with proof. Leaders have fallen not because of sudden defeat in war, but because respect evaporated slowly from within. Rome's emperors learned too late that armies crumble when soldiers no longer believe in the authority of the one leading them. Respect is the spine of command. Without it, even loyal followers drift. When contempt replaces reverence, betrayal is inevitable. It does not matter how grand the title. The perception of weakness is already the death sentence. Machiavelli understood this. Power endures not on appearances alone, but on the ability to enforce presence without begging for it. This is the silent war you fight every day. Not with swords, but with presence. People observe, probe, and decide where to place you. Respect is not given. It is taken through calm, unyielding conduct. You do not shout, you do not scramble, you do not plead. You respond with clarity and firmness. When interrupted, you finish your words without raising your voice, steady and deliberate, showing that no one can move you from your ground. Weak. Sorry, can I finish? Strong. I'm not done speaking. The difference is the steel behind the words. Each interaction is a battlefield where the predator tests your boundaries. Never mistake disrespect as harmless. It is reconnaissance before the strike. If you tolerate it once, you grant permission forever. Every pause, every silence, every word must reinforce that your throne stands. Hold it with composure, and the predators withdraw. Remember the mantra: respect is armor. Without it, you are already dead. The mind is your throne. If it is cracked, the crown slips, and respect falls with it. People sense weakness before you speak a word. Doubt, hesitation, and scattered thought are signals that you do not govern yourself, and if you cannot govern yourself, no one will treat you as sovereign. Self-sabotage begins in small, hidden ways. The pause before making a decision, the nervous laugh after speaking, the uncertainty written on your face. These are not harmless slips, they are cracks in the foundation, and others notice. In modern life, the smallest display of uncertainty is enough for colleagues, rivals, or even friends to recalibrate you downward on their internal scale of worth. A leader's throne is first defended within. The Stoics understood this truth. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor surrounded by war and betrayal, wrote privately of the need to discipline thought before action. He understood that if fear ruled his inner court, the empire would falter regardless of external defenses. History repeatedly proves that empires collapse not only from external invasion, but also from the erosion of inner authority. A ruler who masters himself radiates command. One who loses that battle becomes a puppet for stronger wills around him. Respect is not gifted to titles, it is awarded to the fortress that cannot be breached from within. Your inner fortress must be built from stone, not sand. That means clarity of purpose, unflinching boundaries, and disciplined response under stress. When a challenge arises, you cannot afford to hesitate. Imagine being asked in front of others to explain your position on a decision. Weak minds stumble, revise, apologize for clarity. Strong minds state the principle and hold it, even if disagreement follows. Respect grows not from being universally agreed with, but from being seen as unshakable. When you embody certainty, others organize themselves around you like soldiers aligning to a steady banner. There is also the crown within, the silent weight that either steadies or topples you. People are drawn to those who appear to rule their own chaos. You have witnessed it, the individual who walks into a room calm, composed and deliberate commands attention without raising a voice. It is not magic, it is sovereignty. They have tamed the storms of anxiety, vanity, and impulse that topple weaker figures. Hypothetically, if a king cannot command himself, the court quickly learns the crown is only decoration. The throne remains, but the power has slipped into the hands of others. Respect begins with the command you issue inward. Govern thoughts with discipline. Eliminate hesitation that cracks your presence. Rule your emotions as you would a kingdom, rewarding loyalty and exiling rebellion. When your mind becomes a throne, others instinctively bow to its authority. Remember the mantra, he who cannot rule himself cannot rule anything. The morning is the battlefield where the war for respect begins. The first move decides the flow of the entire game. If you rise scattered, scrolling through distractions, stumbling into the day without intent, you have already surrendered the opening position. The rest of the day, I sense it. People feel the lack of clarity in your presence, and respect slips. In contrast, when you step into the morning like a commander stepping onto the field, every later move falls into alignment. The day obeys the one who controls its first hour. The first move on the chessboard is decisive. Grandmasters know that the opening creates momentum, tempo, and positioning that dictate every future exchange. Life works the same way. Begin strong and you anchor control. Begin weak and you play from behind all day. Modern life tempts you to waste the opening on passive consumption, but the predator who feeds first, the soldier who strikes first, the king who positions first, they all shape the battlefield in their favor. If you want respect, claim the morning with deliberate ritual. Command your time before the world commands it from you. Train your body, clear your mind, order your priorities. These moves broadcast strength without a word spoken. History is filled with examples of commanders who began their power at dawn. Napoleon rose early, reviewed reports, and issued precise commands before most of his officers were awake. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations of the discipline required to rise each day, ready for duty, even when the body resisted. Many leaders, ancient and modern, understood that the first hours were not leisure but strategy. CEOs, generals, and builders of empires guarded their mornings with the same seriousness as a general guards supply lines. They knew that once the opening was lost, the enemy could press advantage everywhere else. Respect was built not only by victories in public, but by the unseen discipline of mornings that created unshakable consistency. The sleepy soldier dies first. Imagine stepping onto a battlefield unarmed, yawning and distracted. You would not last a minute, yet that is how many step into their day, unprepared, unfocused, and already defeated before contact. Hypothetically, the predator circles, scanning the herd. The one who drags his feet, head lowered, becomes the target. In life, the same pattern applies. When you arrive unprepared, people instinctively sense you are not sharp, not ready, not dangerous. They will not respect a throne that looks half asleep. The lesson is clear. Win the morning, or the day will rule you. Take command of the first move. Honor the discipline of leaders before you, and never march into the day unarmed. Respect begins the moment you wake, and it is won or lost before others even see you. Remember the mantra, seize the morning and the world bows by night. Silence is a weapon sharper than most words. In every room, people reveal themselves by how quickly they speak, how much they fill the air, and how desperately they try to be noticed. Yet respect is not earned by noise. It is carved out by composure, by the ability to hold stillness like a sword at rest. Every word you release carries weight. Careless talk is like swinging steel wildly on the battlefield. Each strike drains energy, exposes weakness, and leaves you open. When you explain too much, when you rush to fill silence, when you talk only to reassure yourself, you bleed authority. The disciplined warrior conserves words as ammunition, each one chosen, each one meant to strike. Modern life makes this harder. Offices, meetings, and social circles reward speed of voice rather than depth of thought. People confuse volume with confidence, but the truth is simple. The one who speaks less, but with deliberate force, is remembered longer than the one who pours words without control. Weak. I think maybe we could try this. Strong. Here's the direction we take. The difference is not only in language, but in the aura of finality and clarity. Stillness magnifies presence. Those who master it gain respect without raising their volume. Machiavelli understood the role of restraint. In his writings, he warned that rulers who expose too much of their intentions give their enemies easy ground. Control of information is control of power. The sovereign who reveals nothing until the strike cannot be predicted or manipulated. History is full of leaders who are intimidated, not by endless proclamations, but by calculated silence. Their allies feared disappointing them. Their enemies feared misjudging them. Respect often survives not because of words spoken, but because of what is withheld. To be unpredictable is to be formidable. Think of the predator who waits. The wolf does not waste energy chasing every shadow. It crouches in silence, watching, calculating, waiting until the moment guarantees success. That stillness is not weakness. It is focus, patience, and discipline. When you learn to hold your ground, to resist the pull of nervous chatter, you project the same message: I will strike when I choose, not when provoked. In any group, the one who controls his silence controls the rhythm. Others adjust, grow uneasy, and eventually respect the one who cannot be hurried. In practice, this means refusing to fight every small battle with words. In a disagreement, you can hold silence for a beat before responding. Instead of rushing, pause, measure, and then cut with precision. You will notice how quickly the other person recalibrates, sensing your calm control. Stillness forces others to reveal themselves while you conserve your strength. Respect belongs to the one who uses silence as a blade and composure as armor. Govern your tongue as you would guard your throne. Every unnecessary word is a crack. Every deliberate pause is a shield. Carry yourself like the wolf who waits, and the battlefield bends to your rhythm. Remember the mantra, stillness is strength and silence commands. The first insult is never random, it is a test. Someone interrupts you, makes a cutting remark, or dismisses your contribution. They are not only speaking, they are probing. In modern settings, these small jabs are the battlefield scouts. They reveal how much ground they can take without resistance. If you laugh it off, if you ignore it without acknowledgement, you signal weakness. Tolerance here does not look like patience. It looks like permission, and once permission is granted, more will follow. In offices, relationships, or social circles, the one who fails to address the first cut is soon bleeding from many. History shows us that leaders who endured were ruthless in defense of respect. Caesar, faced with plots and murmurs against his authority, understood that hesitation would only multiply conspiracies. Alexander, though celebrated for vision, was unflinching when soldiers disobeyed. They did not strike blindly or with cruelty, but they struck quickly enough to ensure no one mistook their silence for weakness. Swift response is not about rage, it is about clarity. It is the cold announcement that the throne will not tolerate erosion. Respect is preserved by making the cost of insult visible to everyone watching. Picture your throne as a garden. At first, one weed seems harmless. You think, "I'll deal with it later." But weeds multiply in silence, their roots spreading beneath the soil until they choke every healthy plant. Disrespect follows the same law. One tolerated weed grows into a field of thorns. Soon the throne itself is hidden, and those who once looked to it with reverence now see only disorder. Hypothetically, if a king allows one subject to mock him publicly, it will not end with that man. It will become fashionable, copied, normalized, until sovereignty itself becomes a joke. Respect dies not in the grand rebellion, but in the small, unchecked moments that accumulate into collapse. Your task is ruthless elimination. That means responding to the first insult with calm strength, not fury. When someone undermines you, you do not need to shout or belittle. You look them in the eye, hold your ground, and answer with clarity that resets the boundary. Weak. It's fine, don't worry about it. Strong. That's not acceptable. Let's keep this serious. The difference is a line carved in stone. Others see it, and the test ends there. This is not cruelty, it is survival. Respect is a fortress. Every stone matters. Ignore one breach, and soon the wall collapses. If you wish to rule yourself and be treated as sovereign, you must pull weeds before they root, answer insults before they spread, and eliminate threats before they multiply. Remember the mantra, cut the first weed or lose the throne. Your presence speaks before your mouth opens. The way you walk into a room, the way your eyes hold or dart, the way your voice carries or collapses, all of it broadcasts whether you are sovereign or subordinate. People judge instantly, and their respect calibrates in seconds. This is the aura effect. If your shoulders slump, if your voice trails with hesitation, if your gaze breaks too easily, you signal weakness. Weak? I guess we could. Strong? This is the way forward. The difference is not in length, but in weight. Aura is authority felt without proof, and if you fail to project it, the throne is already diminished. History confirms that masks of command have always been essential. Kings, generals, and rulers understood that their survival depended not only on victories, but on appearance. Alexander projected invincibility through posture and ceremony. Roman emperors staged themselves with calculated gravity, knowing even loyal soldiers would doubt a faltering presence. Machiavelli observed that rulers who displayed confidence even under pressure retained fear and respect longer than those who revealed uncertainty. A leader's mask was not deception in the shallow sense, it was armor. Without it, enemies circled, allies drifted, and authority dissolved. You must learn the same discipline. The mask of command is not about lying or faking what you are not. It is about holding your ground in the storm. Even when uncertain, you carry yourself as if your decision is deliberate. Imagine being challenged in a meeting. A colleague questions your choice with sharp words. The weak response is defensive chatter, rushing to justify. The strong response is calm eye contact, steady voice, and a concise reply that reasserts direction. You do not need to win the argument with volume, you win it with presence. By maintaining composure, you make the challenger look like the one out of control. Respect follows the figure who stands immovable, not the one who flails. Pathetically, Think of the actor on the throne. Even if fear trembles beneath the crown, the performance must be flawless. The mask enforces obedience, because people respect symbols as much as substance. A commander who appears shaken in front of his army risks collapse, even if strategy is sound. A leader who appears steady can inspire troops to endure, even against impossible odds. You too must wear this mask in daily life, not to deceive, but to anchor. Others will test you, but if the mask holds, they align themselves under your command. Your body, tone, and gaze are weapons. Use them with precision. Do not let careless posture or empty words betray your sovereignty. Put on the mask of command each day and carry it until it becomes second nature. Respect belongs to the one who can hold it when others would break. Remember the mantra: wear the mask, rule the room. The greatest enemy is not outside your walls, but inside your chest. Respect does not vanish in a single strike. It dies when hesitation, fear, and weakness are left alive within you. Every pause, every flicker of doubt, every visible crack in conviction becomes an invitation for others to dismiss you. Modern predators, competitors at work, rivals in social spaces, even friends who sense advantage, pounce on hesitation. The instant you stall, they measure you as prey, weak. I'm not sure, maybe we could. Strong, this is the path forward. The difference is survival. Kill hesitation before it walks into the room with you. History shows that the strongest leaders practiced ruthless internal elimination long before they commanded others. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning to expect insult, betrayal, and hardship, yet he trained his mind to meet them with calm authority. Alexander was relentless with his own impulses, disciplining his body and mind to match the scale of his ambition. The Roman legions respected not only Caesar's victories, but his relentless discipline over himself. His soldiers followed because he lived the same rigor he demanded of them. These examples reveal a pattern. The throne endures only when the ruler is his own assassin, removing softness, doubt, and complacency before they are visible. You must become the assassin in the mirror. That means looking at yourself without excuses. If you procrastinate, if you indulge weakness, if you let emotions dictate every move, you have already betrayed your throne. Hypothetically, picture a sovereign who ignores the whispers of rebellion inside his court. At first, it seems manageable, but soon the whispers grow into open defiance, and the throne collapses from within. The same is true of you. If you fail to strike down the weakness that whispers wait or don't act, others will smell it. People can sense when you are ruled by indecision, and they adjust accordingly. Respect cannot survive the scent of weakness. In practice, this requires swift internal executions. When you feel the pull of hesitation, act anyway. When you are tempted by excuses, cut them down without negotiation. When emotions surge, command them rather than obey them. A calm refusal in a disagreement demonstrates more authority than a flood of words. Someone challenges you, and instead of stumbling through justification, you hold your ground with a single line: "I've made my decision." The assassin within you has already killed the urge to explain, and what remains is clarity. Respect is won not by pretending to be flawless, but by proving that your weakness does not rule you. Each day, look in the mirror and remove what does not serve the throne. Become the silent killer of hesitation, fear, and impulse. Others will feel it, and they will treat you accordingly. Remember the mantra: rule the weakness within, or be ruled by all without. Respect follows hunger. People sense when you move with appetite, when there is a fire under your steps and a sharpness in your eyes. The modern world tries to soften this, telling you to hide ambition, to downplay drive, to appear agreeable, but respect is never given to the one who starves his wolf. It flows to those who radiate hunger, who show through action that they are moving forward, whether anyone approves or not. In the office, in relationships, in every arena, the one who hungers sets the pace. Others adjust to the rhythm of the wolf who feeds. You can see it daily. The individual who takes initiative, who refuses to wait for permission, who pursues goals with visible determination, becomes the figure people look to. Not because of charm alone, but because hunger signals strength. Weak. I'll try to do it if I get the chance. Strong. I'll make it happen. The framing is decisive. Those who show no hunger fade into the background. Those who carry appetite carve a place in every room. You must feed your wolf through challenges, ambitions, and disciplined aggression, or others will decide you are safe to ignore. History proves this point with ruthless clarity. Empires did not expand under rulers who grew comfortable. Rome rose under generals who were relentless, pressing outward to secure dominance before rivals could regroup. Alexander carried his empire beyond familiar borders, driven not only by strategy but by appetite for more. Leaders who maintained hunger kept armies loyal because soldiers trusted those who always pushed toward greater spoils and stronger positions. When hunger waned, collapse followed. A throne survives only when the sovereign feeds his wolf, showing through deeds that complacency will never rot his command. The danger of starving your wolf is not only external, but internal. Hypothetically, picture a wolf denied food long enough. It does not vanish. It turns inward, devouring the body it inhabits. The same happens when you suppress your drive. Instead of feeding ambition with worthy battles, you bury it and it festers as resentment, envy, and self-contempt. People quickly sense this hidden decay. They feel the lack of power, the absence of forward momentum, and they adjust their respect downward. The wolf unexpressed becomes poison, weakening the throne from within until there is nothing left to defend. You must feed it. Not recklessly, not by lashing out, but by choosing worthy pursuits, setting higher standards, and demanding more from yourself. Channel hunger into work, into discipline, into building something unshakable. Do not apologize for ambition. Wear it as your crown. When challenged, answer not with excuses, but with evidence of progress. Show that your wolf eats daily, and others will step carefully, knowing they stand before someone who cannot be ignored. Respect belongs to those who feed their fire while others settle for comfort. Remember the mantra, starve the wolf, lose the throne. Life is a chessboard. Every action you take, every word you speak, every silence you hold is a move. Disrespect strikes when you forget that others are watching the board, planning their responses, and calculating how far they can push. The moment you drift into autopilot, making careless moves without strategy, you forfeit respect. The predator in human form does not always attack with claws. They maneuver like players in a long game, testing your awareness, seeing whether you understand the patterns, or if you are only a pawn wandering without purpose. Modern life is full of office chess. In meetings, promotions, negotiations, or even friendships, every exchange is positioning. A colleague interrupts you, test move. Do you reclaim space calmly, or do you fold? A boss assigns you extra work, probe. Do you accept without boundary, or do you negotiate from strength? Relationships are no different. Each small interaction signals whether you see the game or not. Weak. Sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. Strong. I'll be brief. Here's what matters. In every space, people respect the one who acts as though each step is deliberate. Those who drift appear blind to the board, and blindness is punished with dismissal. History honors the strategist. Machiavelli wrote with precision about rulers who held power not because of luck, but because of calculation. Sun Tzu mapped war as a series of moves where patience and foresight outweighed brute force. Alexander's campaigns were not accidents of courage, but coordinated designs on geography, timing, and morale. Leaders who understood the board moved pieces with foresight, setting traps, guarding their flanks, and preparing sacrifices where necessary. Their victories were not only won on the battlefield, but in the quiet hours beforehand, planning the next sequence. Respect follows those who move with foresight. It vanishes from those who stumble, reacting without design. The pawn who forgets the board is already lost. Hypothetically, imagine a pawn that believes the game is casual, wandering without aim. That pawn becomes a disposable piece, sacrificed for others' advancement. People who move without strategy suffer the same fate. They are used, overlooked, or sacrificed because they did not recognize the larger structure shaping their lives. Disrespect attaches quickly to those who fail to see context. If you do not understand the power structures around you, others will map your path for you, and when your ignorance becomes obvious, you are no longer considered a player, but a piece. The practical lesson is stark. Always see the board. Before entering a conversation, know what you want to achieve. Before reacting to provocation, calculate whether the move strengthens or weakens your position. In disagreements, composure is more powerful than noise. If challenged, resist the instinct to defend with excess words. Hold silence, let others overextend, then respond with a precise line that recenters authority. I've heard you and here's the decision. This is not arrogance. It is chess. It is deliberate positioning, reminding everyone that you are not a pawn drifting, but a player guiding the match. Life does not respect the unstrategic. It respects the sovereign who treats each moment as a move that either defends or advances the throne. Do not wander. Do not forget the board. Look ahead, anticipate, and move with intent. Remember the mantra, see the board or be sacrificed on it. Respect bends to iron will. You cannot fake it, and you cannot buy it. People measure you not by what you say in moments of ease, but by what you endure when tested. That strength is not created in public. It is forged in private rituals that harden your resolve until it becomes visible to all. Without ritual, will softens. Without will, the throne crumbles. Every sovereign, every warrior, every strategist who held respect over time built it not by accident, but by deliberate training in discomfort. Daily tests of grit are the fire you must walk through. Cold showers, physical training, early rising, disciplined fasting, difficult conversations. These are not random hardships. They are chosen battles that remind your mind who is in command. Modern life seduces you with comfort, endless cushions, and distractions that dull the edge of your blade. If you surrender to ease, you signal to yourself and to others that your throne is ornamental. But when you impose trials, when you prove that you will suffer voluntarily, you send a different message. Weak, I'll do it when I feel like it. Strong, I do it because I command it. The difference is sovereignty over self, and others feel the weight of that discipline without you saying a word. History is filled with proof. The Spartans trained from youth in harsh discipline, mastering pain and hunger so that fear never ruled them. The Stoics practiced mental exercises to prepare for loss, insult, and death, ensuring composure in real trials. Samurai embraced ritual, blending martial practice with daily codes of restraint, believing that only through repeated testing could honor survive. These were not gestures of pride, but foundations of power. Armies and societies respected leaders who demonstrated personal rituals of endurance because it proved that their commands rested on more than words. When a general endured the same cold and hunger as his soldiers, loyalty deepened. When a ruler showed discipline, followers trusted that weakness would not undo the crown. Think of rituals as a forge. Each act of discipline is hammer and fire shaping the metal of your will. One strike seems small, but repeated daily, the iron becomes unbreakable. Hypothetically, picture a king's crown. At first, it is raw metal, soft and vulnerable. Without the forge, it bends under pressure. With hammer and fire, it hardens into something that can weather centuries. Your will is no different. Without ritual, you are soft. With ritual, you are steel. Respect flows to the one who demonstrates iron will. Not through speeches, not through claims, but through visible strength in the way you rise, act, and endure. If you want authority, prove that comfort does not own you. Prove that hardship bends to your command. Forge daily until others cannot imagine you breaking. Remember the mantra, rituals forge the crown. Dependence is the chain that breaks the throne. When others can pull your strings, respect collapses. People sense instantly whether you are free or bound. The one who needs constant approval, who relies on others for direction, who cannot stand alone, is never treated as sovereign. Respect flows to those who appear untouchable, insulated from harm or owe. Independence is the fortress wall. Without it, your throne is already breached. Modern life makes dependence tempting. Financial dependence leaves you cautious, afraid to speak, because livelihood is tied to someone else's mercy. Emotional dependence makes you tolerate disrespect, desperate to avoid abandonment. Intellectual dependence keeps you repeating borrowed thoughts, afraid to stand for your own. Each form of weakness is a rope around your crown. People measure you accordingly. They may like you, even pity you, but they will not respect you. The sovereign aura comes only from the figure who shows he can walk forward without crutches. Weak, I can't do this unless you approve. Strong, I've decided, and here's the path. This distinction marks the difference between pawn and player. History remembers the untouchables. Marcus Aurelius, despite being surrounded by treachery and war, built resilience through philosophy, anchoring himself so deeply in self-mastery that no insult or hardship could dictate his conduct. His respect endured because he was ruled by principle, not by the moods of others. Genghis Khan, though brutal in conquest, became untouchable by removing reliance on fragile alliances. He secured loyalty through systems of merit and strength, not by leaning on families or factions that could betray him. In both cases, authority survived because dependence was cut away. Rulers who relied too heavily on favorites, wealth, or public opinion lost their crowns quickly. Respect followed only those who insulated themselves from the reach of others. Imagine the fortress king. Hypothetically, he stands within walls so high that no arrow can touch him. Enemies rage outside, but their weapons fall short. Why? Because he built his walls long before the attack. He invested in stone, fire, and design so that by the time the siege arrived, he was beyond reach. That is what becoming untouchable means. You do not wait for the insult, betrayal, or crisis. You build independence in advance. Financial stability, emotional self-control, intellectual clarity, these are your fortress stones. Without them, even a whisper of disrespect finds its way inside, because you have no defense. With them, insults bounce, betrayals fail, and crises pass without breaking your command. In practice, this means hard choices. Earn and manage money in a way that prevents desperation. Strengthen yourself emotionally so you do not beg for respect in relationships. Train your mind so you can defend your thoughts without leaning on the approval of a crowd. If challenged, you do not panic or beg. You answer calmly, I understand your position, but my decision stands. No shouting, no trembling, just the composure of a fortress king. Others learn quickly that your will cannot be bent by pressure. Respect deepens because people admire strength. They cannot shake. Dependence is the first mistake of the disrespected. Untouchability is the crown of the sovereign. Build your fortress through independence, and you will find that others treat you as immovable. No attack, no opinion, no demand will sway you. Remember the mantra: the untouchable cannot be dethroned. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. This truth cuts through time because it reveals the core of respect. Survival depends on perception. All the lessons before now converge into a single law. If you wish to be sovereign, you must become a web of mastery, not a collection of scattered tactics. Mind as throne, morning as battlefield, stillness as weapon, ruthless elimination. The mask of command, the inner assassin, feeding the wolf, the chessboard of life, and rituals of iron will. Each strand alone is fragile, but woven together, they form armor no blade can pierce. Respect clings to this web, while weakness shreds it apart. The web of mastery begins with ruling your own mind. Without it, every other effort fractures. Your morning routines anchor discipline. Silence hardens presence. Swift elimination prevents contagion. The mask projects aura. The assassin kills hesitation. The wolf fuels hunger. The chessboard frames strategy. Rituals temper the crown. Independence seals the fortress. Each element reinforces the others, binding into a sovereign form. Respect is not granted in fragments. It is commanded when these elements align into one visible force. Those who attempt shortcuts, relying only on charm, money, or strength, eventually collapse because the web is incomplete. History confirms it. Rulers who neglected discipline or failed to guard their aura lost power even when armies stood behind them. The throne stands only when the web holds. The throne or the chains? This is the decision before you. In modern life, this choice appears daily, not once in a lifetime. Either you rise sovereign, or you sink into the role of prey. People watch how you handle disrespect, how you carry yourself, how you respond to tests. If you hesitate, make excuses, or lean on dependence, you fasten chains around your own neck. Weak: I'll try to do better next time. Strong: this is the standard I hold. Weak: I can't without their help. Strong: I choose, I act, I own the result. These are not small differences. They are declarations of the throne or submission. The world respects only those who walk unshaken, whose presence carries the weight of inevitability. Picture the immortal archetype. Hypothetically, imagine a sovereign so complete in his mastery that he becomes untouchable, etched into the memory of all who see him. His silence unnerves challenges. His discipline outlasts storms. His aura reshapes the room. His independence makes him unassailable. He is not merely a man. He is the embodiment of a throne that cannot be toppled. Enemies waste energy attacking, but find no weakness. Allies align without question, drawn to certainty. Even time cannot erode him, because the image of the sovereign transcends the moment. You too are building this archetype. Each act of mastery, each ritual, each decision adds to the figure others cannot dismiss. Consider a moment of disagreement. Someone challenges your authority, expecting defensiveness or collapse. Instead, you meet their gaze, pause, and reply with measured finality. I've made my decision. No anger, no excess. The silence following is heavier than argument. The challenger falters because they realize you cannot be swayed. This is sovereignty in action. Not louder words, but an aura that commands. Respect cements itself in those watching, because they recognize a ruler who cannot be bent. The three mistakes: tolerating disrespect, bleeding words, and clinging to dependence are daggers pointed at this sovereignty. If you allow them, they cut the web of mastery apart. If you eliminate them, you stand untouchable. The throne demands vigilance, for predators never stop testing, and pawns never stop watching for weakness. You cannot win respect once and coast. You must forge it daily through mastery of self, clarity of action, and unbreakable will. The convergence is not abstract. It is the transformation you demand of yourself. You are no longer the hesitant piece reacting to moves. You are the player, the commander, the sovereign. Others may not always love you. They may envy, fear, or resist, but they will respect you, and that respect becomes the shield that makes survival possible. Rise, and the throne is yours. Fall, and you kneel in chains while others rule your life. The choice is sharp, immediate, and final. Respect is not a gift. It is a crown carved from mastery. Wear it, and you step into the archetype of the sovereign, untouchable and eternal. Remember the mantra, rule completely or be ruled forever. Disrespect tolerated once becomes a lifetime of kneeling. Every time you let it pass, you carve a deeper groove of weakness that others will follow. Modern life disguises this truth with phrases like, let it go, or don't overreact, but in reality, silence without boundary is surrender. People are watching how you respond to the first cut, and if you show no defense, they assume the throne is vacant. Respect does not erode all at once. It vanishes piece by piece, each time you allow yourself to be spoken over, dismissed, or overlooked. If you want sovereignty, you must treat the smallest act of disrespect as a test that demands clarity, not compromise. The reward for sovereignty is not small. History shows that leaders who ruled themselves projected a presence that no insult could shake. Marcus Aurelius endured betrayal, war, and plague, yet because he mastered his own responses, he remained untouchable in the eyes of his empire. His authority was not loud, not desperate, but steady and absolute. Respect endures for those who stand firm, not because they demand it, but because they embody it. In any room today, the same law applies. When you carry yourself with composure and authority, even without words, others sense the fortress around you. They measure themselves against your standard, and instinctively they give ground. The choice before you is throne or chains. Hypothetically, picture yourself as a ruler offered both. One path is sovereignty, self-command, independence, and strength that commands respect. The other is bondage, a life ruled by others' judgments, where every opinion and slight weighs on you like iron links. Too many live chained, hoping for recognition, waiting for validation, dependent on others to decide their worth. But the sovereign refuses this fate. He claims the throne by setting boundaries, eliminating hesitation, and feeding his will daily until it is unbreakable. You must march forward now. Stop excusing disrespect with weak language. Weak. Sorry, maybe I shouldn't speak. Strong. I haven't finished. Listen. Weak. It's fine. I don't mind. Strong. That's not acceptable. Do not wait for permission to act. Act as if your throne is already yours, and others will align with the authority you project. The throne awaits no one. It belongs to the one who has the courage to claim it. Eliminate the 3 mistakes, forge your sovereignty, and carry yourself as the one who cannot be ruled. Remember the mantra, rule yourself and no one can rule you.